Hello everyone, welcome to another video about preset making in Oscillarys. And in this video, I would like to create an ambient preset, like an ambient soundscape preset. So one that is not necessarily playable, one that leverages all the sounds that you have in the dystopia category. And yeah, really create like an effects sort of scene, just for a little bit of context. So the samples and the things that we will be doing, the ideas come from a dedicated instrument that we have at Ocean Swift called Dystopia Diary, where the entire instrument is actually based around that. So thousands of samples that are soundscape samples, whether it's industry, military sounds, all sorts of radio recordings, like shortwave radio recordings, drones and tones and things like that. And the idea in Dystopia Diary is that you loop the whole thing. And if you're interested in the entire Dystopia Diary, take a look at those videos as well. It's an awesome instrument. It's maybe the favorite instrument that I've ever done. But the reason I showed this, that Dystopia Diary is one way and maybe like a really conceptualized way of doing that type of stuff, but it's totally possible and encouraged to also do these kinds of things with Oscillarys, which provides a little bit of a different engine, different modulations, etc., etc. So you can do this and you can do it in a little bit of a different way, but the synth is not entirely dedicated to that. So there are just two categories that are more or less relevant. Of course, you can mix in anything that you want. But let's jump to it and look at the dystopia category. Actually, before that, I want to show you one quick thing. There are in the inits, a few inits called init drone. Now, what does init drone actually do? Is first of all, it puts everything in the dystopia category, but that is secondary. The more important thing is that it automatically starts with all the channels on a fixed, on the fixed mode instead of the tracked mode. And if you look down here over on the bottom left on the info pane, if I hover over here, so it says that while turned on, the sample will play the root note regardless of the incoming note. The easiest way to actually kind of understand that, I mean, it's super self-explanatory, but if I now play a sine wave, if I'm untracked, okay, I play. And if I'm on fixed, no matter what note I play, it plays the same root note. It'll basically play, in this case, the middle C or whatever is the tuning of the sample. So in the case of what we want to do here, that's actually very useful, because if we want to take some atmosphere, so let's say this one, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that only layer A is turned on. So, and we want to make some atmospheric bed. We don't want it to go. I mean, we might want it to go, right? I'm not saying we might not. But in this case, maybe we keep it on fixed so that when we create this entire sort of scene, whatever the user hits, the same scene that we intended is the one that plays back, if that makes sense. All right, so let's see what we have here. So the dystopia category, as mentioned, is full of, it's full of these kinds of, where did I go? It's full of these kinds of sounds. If you start from the top, it starts with noise samples. So noise is pretty much just noise with kind of different colors and different textures. So I think like the analog is Eurorack, if I remember correctly. Etc., etc. You get the idea, and it gets a little more funky, like just untuned radio, but again, just really noise platforms. And then if you get into the ambi and atmo categories, it's a lot more about like droning things that are beyond just being pure noise. So for example, let's try to find something here, but it could be really funky or it could be really mellow. So this is something with a radio and people talking. So let's pick something. This RF gloom sounds like a cool start. Something kind of RF gloom. It's self-explanatory in a way. And we notice that it's already kind of flowing and floating around. The first thing I think I'm going to do actually is I'm going to change the sample start to be on random. Not that it matters that much in this case, because the user will come in and hopefully hold a long note, but I still want it to be interesting a little bit. So let's do that. And maybe before we do anything else, let's find something that is to match. I showed the same philosophy in the other video. Let's first see that we have some sounds that are cool together, or that are cool for us. How about something like this, but this is maybe a little static. It's a cool start, but I'm thinking this has some nice harmonics, and it would be really kind of nice to sweep that. Let's try. So I'm going to do that sweep with a very, very slow LFO. So I'm going to take LFO 1, I'm going to route it to the low pass cut. So this one alone, right? This one was turned off. It's slowly going to be evolving like this. Let's leave it like so for now, just to see what else we have. So let's maybe turn on the first one. That's already pretty nice. For the first one, now I'm having this idea. I really like the way, I mean, if you listen, there is a lot of movement already in there, both in the stereo field and pitch, and stuff is going on there. But maybe we move it around a little bit with the pitch. So I want to see this LFO. Let's just make sure that we are different from it. So just a little bit, let it drown. Cool, I like it so far. Another thing that you notice is that I'm in mono over here, which is super useful. We don't want to be playing chords if we're stacking all these noises up on each other. Again, you can, of course. I'm just saying that notice that, and that's how the init Oscillarys drone preset is set up. Already has you going for the mono. One thing I want to try, I'm listening to this first sound on the left over here on layer 1, and I want to see how it would sound detuned a little bit. So it's kind of cool, but it loses something. But what if we copy this layer, paste it over here just for a second, and see if we play one above and one below, are they going to be nice? So I'm going to reset the tuning for this one. Other than that, I copied it entirely. It's the same. So that's not bad, actually. So that's the, if I listen to the bottom layer alone, and instead of just like turning it on and off, let's bring it in, and we will really start to realize what tone this one is providing. So now remember one thing. Remember when I said, yeah, I'm putting the random here, and maybe it doesn't mean so much because the user is expected to hit and hold one note. The cool thing, maybe now it's a little bit more interesting, because each one of them, it's the same layer. One of them is an octave above, but they start in different places as well. Not only are they playing at different playback speeds, now we have something interesting as far as the movement. So I'm going to keep layer A and C exactly like this for now. Let's bring in layer B and see what we have for a minute. Maybe we add effects. Let's see. Let's listen. And the whole thing is evolving pretty well. What if I just want to play around? I want to hear this layer with different tuning. Yes, what if it provides the air on top? I'm saturating all three layers just a little bit, just by ear. And now, of course, the cheat code Realm. You know, with Realm, I have to be very, very honest. I somehow really like this init preset. Of course, it's not for everything, yeah, but if I'm doing pads, or either pads or sounds like this one, or even sometimes like pad keys and things like that, this starting point is super nice. I always kind of touch it just to say that I touched it, that I didn't just use the init preset, but I really like it as a starting point. Some things, yeah, I'd like to sometimes low shelf a little bit, like take off of the low end. It's a matter of taste. A lot of people like to have kind of to hear some reverb on the low side. I like it a little more, that sort of thing. So yeah, maybe like this. Part of the key here is that it doesn't have any pre-delay at all. So it's just kind of like this diffused version of itself in the end that's mixed in. All right, this is pretty good, you know. I don't think that you need to force anything or like add any extra crazy things. Remember that it's mono, so there's not like what's the point of doing like polyphonic aftertouch and things like that. And I would also say that yeah, even if you go to, let's say, the external modulation, velocity, you notice that on this preset it's completely off because, I don't know, you kind of want the whole thing to play. You don't want velocity to really affect something that you're playing, that you're supposed to hold for a minute. Like, what's the point? It doesn't make a lot of sense. What we could do is we could enable this filter. This is maybe a cool idea, actually. Let's choose something a little more interesting. Okay, I like it. So how about the mod wheel can close the filter halfway or something like that. So let's go to the external and let's go to wheel. Let's get the feel for it by taking the wheel. So filter is all the way up right now. We take the wheel all the way up and we start seeing how the modulator affects it. Once we get to the point where we want that to be the maximum, we stop. That works probably, right? One thing to maybe do, I really like this, you know, it's maybe not super fancy, but it's evolving, it's lush, there are no annoying frequencies, it doesn't repeat itself, you can kind of hear it in the background for a long time, you can layer things on top of it, it can be really nice as part of a scene. If you notice though, we remember when we did that copy paste, and it's all good, right? That like they are playing on different octaves and everything. We could keep the pitch like this, and then the drop and the sway would be the same between layer A and layer C. We could flip it around, that they go other directions. It might change the vibes a little bit. I don't know if we notice it in the grand scheme of things, like if you remember how it was before. But yeah, I like it. Maybe we give it a little bit of extra gain. You could decide, I'm not going to do it here, but obviously you could, instead of giving the module to the user, or in addition, you could probably set an LFO to the cutoff over here. But I do think I want to keep it so that there is a position where it's just completely all the way open and uninterrupted, and basically it serves kind of like an EQ in the end. Like, it's not so much creative filtering, but it's more like, okay, let's take down the tone and let's open up the tone. All right, so let's save this preset. Let's call it, I don't know, it's kind of narcotic, right? Like, not narcotic, maybe neurotic drifter. Ooh, evolver. Yeah, that's like a really cool hipster name. Let's do that. So thanks for watching, and go make your own awesome evolving drones in Oscillarys. See you later.